Hello guys, the DB Grinder here, back at it again with another video, and this time I'm here with Pedro, who got top 8 at the YCS Brazil with the Melodious Snake Eye deck, and also we're going to have Rafael reach out here, being the translator for him, and okay, you guys have anything you want to say before we hop in?
Uh, Hi guys, my name is Pedro. I'm from Brazil, and I created this deck and Snake Eye Melodious.
Hi guys, I'm Rafael Reich. I'm from Brazil. I'm Pedro. I'm very friendly with Pedro from like I don't know all times. We made decks. We played the 3v3 YCS in Costa Rica together, and I was involved on the creation of the Melodious Snake Eye strategy. This deck was a fully idea of Pedro because he read all the Melodious cards, and then a month ago he come to me like, bro, I have a crazy deck for the ICS. We gotta try it out. So then we start playing with this. I ended up not playing the deck. I can't explain why, but this is mainly his idea. And we, like me, Santiago Marin Lopes, we just gave our logs. Well, like this should be good. This might work. But it's all his creation. It's also funny because a lot of American players like Ruben Penaranda and Kamal Crooks also got into the theory of this exactly same deck. Not exactly the same deck list, not exactly the same combo, but they all figured out the same way to play this deck. I think it's very good. And this will help to show out how Pedro is a very impressive player. He's one of the best players I ever played on my life. And it's a pleasure to call him a friend and to have him on my group test.
Okay. You want to hop into the deck profile now?
For sure.
Alright.
Okay, so the idea of the Melodious Snake Eyes, Pedro was just reading every card from Legacy of Destruction to check out if there is anything he could make for the ICS Rio. And then he got into the Melodious cards that he already had in mind because it was a kind of decent deck on the OCG. Not very realistic deck because like it was decent, but play with Supreme King, and this Supreme King version needs the Electromite. So he started figuring out how he could make this deck into a good engine, maybe playing the pure version, maybe playing with voiceless voice, and then he figured out that he could play the Banshee to connect both engines and make it into a Snake Eye deck. So we knew we would have to play 8 of the Melodious cards. Refrain is the normal sum of the deck, but it's also a combo piece. You can't go down to 2 refrains, for example. And there is the problem. The hands where you draw refrain aren't as good as the hands where you draw Ostinato. That's the real power card of the deck. Then refrain being a normal summon, it gets in conflict with the Snake Eye Ash. Even though your refrain normal summon gets you into a full combo, it's very weak for hand traps. That's why you need to back up this deck with a lot of engines that can play through hand traps well. And Ostinato is like one of the most custom cards I ever saw in my entire life. This card doesn't make any kind of sense. It's basically a branded fusion, just requires you to don't control monsters. And then during the end phase, you can destroy the fusion summoned monster, and if you do, you're gonna special summon the fusion materials from your graveyard. This is absolutely crazy. Like, this card doesn't make sense. It's not once per turn, don't block you into anything, and this is the card that will connect your entire play into everything. Couple, it's the break of the deck, alongside with Melodious Concerto. They are not that good as cards, but you have to play them so you get the full potential of this strategy. And then for the Snake Eyes strategy, 2 Snake Eye Ashes, we are playing just 1, but this would kill our follow-up. After we make our play, if we get kind of interrupted with hand traps, it's not gonna be good enough if you don't have the second Snake Eye Ash on your deck, so it's very important to have it. Snake Eye Oak, Flambert, 2 Poplars are necessary, as well the original Sinful Spoils and Van Temple. And then a last-minute addition was Snake Eyes Jebel Star. What can I say? This card is amazing. This card is one of the best cards that ever got released after a deck was already meta. This card makes your Snake Eye combo way better. Now, with just Snake Eye Ash, you can go for Apollousa plus IP with Flamberge on the field. And that's just because of the Snake Eyes Jebel Star. So you have to play this card. This card gives you resilience through hand traps, and if you get into a grind match, This card is very, very important because you can keep looping Poplar with it. You activate your field spell, you link your Jebel Star into the graveyard, and then you put Poplar in the spell trap zone, and then on next turn you summon Poplar, and if your opponent destroys your Poplar or you link your Poplar, the Poplars will get back the Snake Eyes Jebel Star, and then you can get into this loop. 3 Bonfires, 3 Wanteds, 3 Jebel Stars are the best extenders of this deck. And then we had to play a bunch of tech cards. We started doing maths about, like, we were pretty sure we would play at least we're pretty sure, like, the engine cards should be played this way. You should play the 8 Melodious cards, you should play the 9 Snake Eye cards, the 3 Double Star, the 3 1, the 3 Bonfire. So now we gotta think about how we're gonna put tech cards into this deck. Because we could put, like, just 3 Ash, 3 Mourner, 3 Ogre, 3 Vader, 2 Talents, and call it a day. But we started making calcs, and this deck has kinda high number of bricks. If you think well, Couplet by itself is not exactly a brick, because if you open Couplet plus Refrain, it's very good. You can get Concerto, it's very important. But overall, that's the bricks. Couplet, Melodious Concerto, Flamberge, Snake Eyes Jebel Star, Snake Eye Oak. All of those cards are not very good to draw. Even though in some scenarios you can get them useful, it's also going to be a very big problem at this point if you just draw all of them. So playing more than 40 cards, it's very, very, very important in this deck. And then we start doing maths on everything, and we were like, okay, the best number we can get into this number is 44 cards. We got into the 5 hand traps packages and then triple tactical talents. And it's especially hard for this deck because you can't play hand traps that summon itself. On this case, Nibiru's and Bestials. We played them on the side, but we'll get there later. We have those packages of hand traps, and those are the best ones that don't summon themselves to the field. Because if you summon themselves to the field, you're going to have your Couplet not being able to use the effect, and you will also have your Ostinato not being able to use its effect. So there's not really why you play Nibiru. Okay, so on our main deck, I think that's it. If there is any questions of main deck, I think that's basically it.
I guess, like, why'd you decide the main deck Ghost Ogre?
That's a very important question. About Ghost Ogre, I think, like, it was more about respect all different decks of a small YCS like the Brazil one, but especially there is not many hand traps that are good and that don't summon themselves to the field. So we started looking for the other options, and Ghost Ogre was one of them. And also, it's kind of important to say that Ghost Ogre, if you get into your Melodious play and it gets interrupted at some point, but you still can scale Couplet and scale Reframe, Ghost Ogre can be Pendulum Summoned. That's kind of interesting, because Couplet stands that you cannot Pendulum Summon except light monsters. And if you have Ghost Ogre, it can work also as an extender. It's a good opportunity to have this card.
All right, sounds good. You want to move on to the side deck now?
Let's go for the extra deck first. I think it's easier to explain the extra deck.
All right, fair enough.
Many of those cards are just regular cards from the basic Snake Eye strategy. So as you can see, we have Access Code Talker, Apollousa, IP Masquerena, Zelantis, Raging Phoenix, Promethean Princess, Rita, SP Little Knight, Healing Shit Anima, and Dark the Dark Charmer. Where this package starts getting different is about the cards you need to play your Melodious engine. And they are basically Basha, Schuberta, the fusions, Infernal Flame Banshee, the card that connects both engines, Exceed the Pendulum, the card that works like a Celine to get into your access code, and the Haggard Lizard Dose. This card is crazy, and we're gonna talk about it on the end of the extra deck. So about the fusions, you gotta play at least one Baka, because the Baka is the fusion that makes everything happen. But then you need a second fusion. And the second fusion has to be Schuberta or the Flowering Etoile, the card that we are playing in the side deck. Schuberta is very, very important. In some scenarios, we're going second, especially in matchups like Fire King, Snake Eye. You need to have your Schuberta to summon with Ostinato. You go for Ostinato, send 2 refrains, and summon Schuberta just because it's a quick ban 3. That's very, very, very important to take out cards out of your opponent's graveyard. And then you can, for example, normal summon Snake Eye Ash and proceed to full combo. And also in the combo we play, Schuberte requires you 2 Melodious monsters. Flowering Etoile requires you 1 Melodious Maestra plus 2 Melodious monsters. So the cost to make it is way, way bigger than we think was good enough to play, even though we still played it on the side deck. Infernal Banshee, it's just the card that connects the engine. And Exceed the Pendulum, as I said, it's just a Celine. You can read this card, read this card, read this card, but it's just like Pendulum Celine. That's all. And then the Haggard Lizardos, this card is amazing. We were looking for a last card in the extra deck that can help you into play, maybe help you into breaking some birds, but also we were like, what can be the card? We're talking about like, could be Pit Knight. Pit Knight was decent, but on the point you get to summon Pit Knight and resolve its effect, it's because the game was already so good for you. So there is not a big reason to play in this way. Haggard Lizardos, it's very important. This effect is, it asks for 2 monsters with different names, and you can banish 1 monster from your face-up field or graveyard with 2k or less attack, and target 1 face-up monster on the field. Make the attack become equal to the original attack of the monster banished to activate the effect until the end of the turn. And if you banished a monster that was originally a reptile, you draw a card. So Haggard Lizardos effect basically stands for ban Banshee. And then if you banish the Banshee, you have a Pyro on the field, you can summon it back. It's also very important for some going second lines where this card can help you to win a few games. And also, this is a card that can banish face up from the field. So if you have your Ostinato in hand and you need it to resolve, you can banish Lizardos from field to make the attack of a monster on your opponent field lower, for example, the Nibiru token, and then you have free space in your main monster zone to play and to just do your Ostinato full combo. That's very important.
Okay.
I think that's it for the extra deck.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, onto the side deck now.
Yeah. Okay, so in this side deck, we played Phantasme and Nibiru, and these are cards that are especially important because of Haggard Lizardos. Yeah, of course, you can summon the Nibiru token in attack and go for battle phase and crash, but this is very, very risky. So playing Haggard Lizardos make that those cards are very, very, very better on this kind of situation. We played the deck lockdown, that is like the next Floodgate. We always do things like that, right? When we have a Floodgate, Konami bans them, and then we go for the next one. And the one of the moment is deck lockdown. So yeah, just insane card. Now, Metal Tronos was a card that a lot of other very, very good players noticed, but this card is amazing. You target 1 face-up non-token monster your opponent control, and special summon 1 monster for your hand, deck, or extra deck that has 2 or more of the same type, attribute, and or attack, but you negate the effect. And if you do, you negate that targeted monster effect, and also after that, if the same monster have the same name, you can banish both face down. Your opponent cannot activate the targeted monster effect in response to this card activation. Okay, so basically, you are playing against a Snake Eye. He makes an Apollousa. You Metal Tronus, summon your own Apollousa, and this by itself becomes into a free body on the field. So Metal Tronus is a free body on the field. And then this Apollousa can also become a World Sea Dragon Zelantis. So that's very, very important and can help you play into fields. Clean. You can also, for example, summon the Access Code Talker maybe. All of these are possible. So you can turn your Metal Tronus into a pop 2 because you're gonna use the Apollousa and then you can banish Access Code and Apollousa. You can banish the Access Code for itself, sorry. You can banish Access Code from field to destroy a card. So you have the Apollousa you took out of your opponent field with Metal Tronus and another pop you can get for free. That's very, very interesting. And this can also help with like every card from the regular Snake Eye strategy extra deck. Because basically the deck has the same idea of the Snake Eye pure. So why not? Metal Tronus is very important. And then at the end, Silvera was an important card against shifter decks, but Pedro said this card sucks. You should not have played it. Kikinagashi Fushu for the Tenpai strategy. And then Flyer in a Toil for the combos, and especially important for matchups where your opponent don't play hand traps. But more important than that, it's for stun matchups, like the runic stun. This card is very, very important against stun matchups because it's one of the ways you can make interactions against them. You can make like Flooring a Toil plus IP Masquerena, and this is very, very huge. You can also go for Schuberta. Schuberta is a fucking machine against the runic stun strategy. So I think that's it for the main deck. You have any questions?
Why'd you choose to not play anti-spell in the side deck?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Why did you choose to not play the anti-spell fragrance in the side deck, like as a floodgate?
Well, our theory was like deck lockdown was a better card overall. If we play against Tempai Dragons, we can't commit so much to going first or to going second. And deck lockdown is very, very good against Tempai if they make you go first. But if they go first and they kind of goes for a small combo or maybe for hit wave, you can just activate deck lockdown, and this will work, kind of work like a hit wave for him. Then you have 2 turns to draw new cards and don't die for the hit wave. Anti-spell don't make the same.
Okay, fair enough. Do you want to go into the combos now then?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so first of all, I gotta say, all this combo was created by Pedro Mariano. He is one of the best players I ever had to meet, and you're gonna see it like it took a lot of time to figure out the lines and to figure out the way to play, but you're gonna like it. Ostinato is an amazing card. If you get Ash or Bell, you can Bell Ostinato, you can still get into another Ostinato in your hand and proceed to full combo. But let's talk about what one card can make you. You activate it and you fusion summon using from your deck 2 copies of Refrain to summon out of your deck a Bacchia. Bacchia will use this effect, and that's gonna summon from your deck another copy of Refrain. It's very important to say, Bacchia effect cannot be negated by itself effect. There's a effect like you cannot negate the Melodious Fusion Monsters effects. But this just apply for cards like Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs. Cards like Infinite Impermanence or Effect Veiler, they don't apply the same way for Bacchia because they will negate the effect of the Melodious cannot be negated. This way, they will also be possible to negate the summon from deck effect. Well, now Refrain will use the effect, and Refrain will add to your hand Couplet. Couplet works like Poplar. When it's added, do something. What's gonna do? It's gonna summon a Refrain from your graveyard. So now this was 3 summons. Now you're gonna activate Couplet in your scale, and it's gonna add a Melodious spell or trap from your deck to your hand. It's gonna add Concerto. Concerto is a polymerization of this deck that can fusion monsters from Pendulum Zone, from your hand, or from your field. And then when a fusion Melodious monster is sent to your graveyard while Concerto is on the graveyard, you can put Concerto back to the graveyard and draw a new card. Now you're gonna activate Concerto, and you're gonna fusion away your Refrain from field and your Couplet from your Pendulum Zone to summon the Schuberta. Both the Pendulum monsters on your extra deck will activate the effect and they will scale themselves up again. Now you will link your Refrain and your Bacchia to summon IP Masquerena. Then the Bacchia effect on graveyard will bring back another Refrain. And Concerto will draw you a new card, sorry. So draw, for example, Hand Trap on this point, put itself back to bottom of deck, and summons another Refrain from your graveyard. Now you're gonna make Exceed the Pendulum, and Exceed the Pendulum will add back 1 Refrain from your extra deck, and then on another effect, it's gonna summon it from your hand. That's just a step up to make your Apollousa. And then you have a very fat Apollousa before you go for your full combo. You just link them away for Apollousa, and now you're gonna Pendulum summon back both your Refrains. You're gonna use them for a Infernal Flame Banshee, and this Banshee will start your Snake Eye combo. We're gonna add Snake Eye Ash, and then, as you can see, we didn't normal summon it yet. So you can normal summon Snake Eye Ash and proceed to make our regular Snake Eye combo. It adds Poplar effect, summons itself, Poplar effect will add a card from deck to hand, we'll add the Divine Temple. It's just a combo that we are already seen a lot of times. You put the Snake Eye Jabal Star, send with Snake Eye Ash, summon Flamberge, and then you link them away for a Promethean Princess. You're gonna have Flamberge effect and Popular effect to put back the Snake Eyes Jabal Star and to summon 2 Snake Eyes from your graveyard. Promethean Princess will bring back the Snake Eye Flamberge, and Flamberge will put into the Spell Trap Zone IP Masquerena. You could have done this earlier, doesn't really matter. Now you're gonna link them away to summon the Raging Phoenix, and then we're gonna make Zelanis. At this part of the combo, we were discussing if this couldn't be a Pit Knight. We could like put the Flamberge under the column of Apollousa, and then we summon Pit Knight on the column where Flamberge now is. But we figured it out, like, there is not a big reason to do so, because if you get into this point, the game is already yours, because you made this with just one card, you drew another card, you have plenty of the interactions, you have Promethean Princess, you have a very good follow-up at this point, so there is not really reason to make a Pit Knight at this point. And then the Snake Eyes Jabal Star will summon itself, putting the Banshee onto the field, and you're gonna link them away to the Haggard Lizardos. Haggard Lizardos effect will banish a card, and gonna banish itself from the field. And since it's a reptile, you're gonna draw a card. That's where the things get insane. You can like make any monster, like Flamberge lose attack. Doesn't really matter. So we figured out like a draw at this point would be way more important than having the Pit Knight earlier, because Pit Knight, it was already a win more card, so not really, don't have a real reason to make it. I think that's the Ostinato combo, and that's very impressive because out of one card, we made 2 draws, a quick band 3, Masquerena, Promethean Princess, 2 negates, Zelantis protects from battle phase, and that's out of just one card. But then you can ask yourself, oh, okay, that's a very nice combo, but you play 3 reframes to make it, you play the couplet, you play the Melodious Concerto. This isn't that good. That's not true, because refrain by itself is also full combo, and that's what we're gonna show right now. So we start with the refrain roll summon that's gonna add a couplet from your deck from your hand. And then that's an important thing. If you open 2 reframes, you can use the couplet effect to summon, and you can also summon from hand. It's not only summon from graveyard. But in this case, opening just one refrain, we just scale up the couplet, and the couplet adds the concerto. You're gonna activate it to fusion summon, and then they are gonna scale itself like we showed on the last combo. Basha effect will summon from your deck a second copy of refrain, and now comes up the refrain pendulum scale effect. You're gonna target a Melodious fusion monster you control and send one Melodious monster from your deck to your graveyard. This is where you're gonna get your 3rd refrain in rotation to make your Snake Eye combo viable. Now you're gonna link them away for IP Masquerena, and kinda like on the same way the last combo worked out, Baka will summon back the refrain, and then we're gonna draw, of course, out of Concerto, but we're gonna make Exceed the Pendulum, grabs back, summons back, goes for Apollousa, and then you just go for the Pendulum summon of 2. And in this combo, we already spent our normal summon on the refrain. So we're gonna just add Popular and play slightly different. We're gonna add Snake Eye Popular effect, Popular summons itself, adds original Sinful Spoil. Very important thing, you can send to your graveyard the Melodious cards as the cost of original, as the cost of Snake Eye Ash. Because since they are Pendulum monsters, they are supposed to go into the extra deck, not into the graveyard. So that's why it's very important that you don't let your opponents do this for you. Well, now we link them for Haggard Lizardros, and Popular effect will probably scale up itself, and Haggard Lizardros will do all the rest of the thing. We're gonna use the Snake Eye Send Popular. Popular is gonna summon Snake Eye Oak. Snake Eye Oak effect is gonna summon Popular back. And now we can do the Snake Eye Oak effect, send itself plus Popular, summons Flamberge. We go for Flamberge to spell and trap your IP Masquerena. And now probably going for Lizard Rose effect, banishing the Banshee to turn the attack of Flamberge lower. But Banshee will summon itself back because we have Flamberge. And now we can just proceed and do the regular play. We have infinite bodies on the field by now. We're gonna link them for Hita. It's gonna be important to make Hita there. We're gonna summon back 2 of them. 2 of your Snake Eye cards. Now you're gonna link them for Promethean Princess. Promethean Princess effect brings back your Flamberge. Flamberge effect. Flamberge already this effect, sorry. and now you're gonna link them both to make the Raging Phoenix, to make the Zelandis, and this way you end your field with basically this. That's 2 negates Apollousa, it's 1 draw, since you made just 1 play. You have Zelantis, you have Flamberge, that's very, very interesting. And this is basically what now, playing the Snake Eyes Jabostar, the pure version of the Snake Eye deck can do. So why not just like play the Melodious card if they achieve the same? The problem on this play is, of course, it's way, way more weaker for hand traps than the regular Snake Eye, because it's very, very weak for drawing Lockbird, for example. If this card is getting any popular, it's gonna be a very, very hard time for the Snake Eyes Melodious. But I think that's very interesting because we all made this out of a group test of like of this. So now that this deck is public, I think it's gonna be way, way more experimented, and it's got a better combos, better lines, things, and that's very important for this deck. Still very, very impressive that Pedro got into this deck, into these combo lines by itself, and that's why I have been saying he's like one of the best players I know. I think that's it.
All right, all right. Any final words before we end the video?
Quer fazer um agradecimento, PH?
Ele vai lá em
Pode fazer em português mesmo.
Quero agradecer o pessoal do meu time, né, da GDLK, que contribuiu um pouco também com a criação desse deck. Inicialmente a ideia partiu deles. É o meu patrocinador, o Getulino, e ao meu amigo Raish, que também é meu companheiro de treino, que me ajudou na construção do deck. E com certeza ele tem uma participação muito grande e também parte do mérito dessa criação.
Okay, so he shout outed for his team, for his sponsor, and to me. It's a funny story. We played on top 8 of the event, or top 8 match. I was like, okay, this could be the final match, because it was a very, very close match, and then the top 4 and the finals were like quick 2-0. So I feel like it was a shame to get paired on top 8 with someone who is very big friend of me. But it ended up working well because I won the event with Snake Eye Kashira. He made top 8 with his Snake Eye Melodious. And that's why I'm so glad I have this partner, because I feel like we are growing up so much as players when we play together. After we got to play, we topped like every event we played. So that's basically it.
All right, sounds good. And with all that being said, the DB Grinder signing off. Peace.